All right, we're going to take a look at the shipping setup. Now, to get to the shipping setup, first we're going to click on Settings, as always, and then the Shipping tab. Okay, now the first thing you should notice inside the shipping setup is that there are two tabs. The first tab is for the carrier setup, and the second tab is for the shipping rules for each carrier. So we're going to start with looking at the carrier setup. Now the first thing to notice is we've got several different options for calculating shipping. By default, we use the real-time weight from the carrier, whether it's UPS, FedEx, USPS, or DHL. Okay, so, and you can see we have others as well. This video we're going to discuss configuring the real-time shipping, which is the most popular for all of our merchants. Okay, the second option here is an important one to consider. Ships USA International. So for example, if you want your store to be able to ship to the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico or those other, let's call it international US states, then you would just leave this blank. If you want to disable shipping to Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands, you want to type in here no. Okay, you can also roll over these question marks for additional help if you're unsure what to put here. Minimum freight charge. Now there are lots of different rules and settings for shipping, but as a backup you can set a minimum freight charge that would go out on every single order. If some of your shipping is going to be free, we suggest you leave this at 0. Okay, log, ShipWorks, or ShipStation. So for I guess for debugging purposes you could type in the word true here and the system would generate logs for you or for our support team to look at when using ShipWorks or ShipStation. The send shipping to DMS or WMS. This is specifically for customers working with WHI solutions or any of our other, let's call it third-party integrations that would allow us to send freight or shipping and handling as a SKU or part number in the line item. Now some of our integrations will send the shipping amount directly to the shipping field in the distribution management or warehouse management system. But for those systems that don't support those fields, we can send shipping and even tax, by the way, as a part number or as a SKU. So basically to enable this feature you would type in true here. Okay, and then the part number or SKU you would use for sending the freight. So maybe you would call it freight. That would be the actual SKU. And if your system supports line codes, maybe it's called, you know, I don't know, AAA or 123 as your line code for the SKU freight. And if you want to send it to a specific branch, you could also type in a branch ID, like, you know, 01. So these are custom values that would be accepted by the DMS or WMS, and we're just passing them through. Now, if you're curious, an $8.99 shipping charge would be sent as 899 1-cent units or quantity to the part number freight with the line code SKU to the branch 01. That's exactly how that would work. Okay, Express Checkout is a feature that we have that allows the shopping cart to display a question whether or not the customer wants to add Express Checkout to an order. It's basically a way for you to make a few extra dollars and to prioritize an additional shipment. Okay, here you could type in the rate. It can be, let's say, 5% or 10% of your order, and it can have a minimum, let's say, of $2.95. That's for the Express Checkout. Now, miscellaneous shipping rules. You may have heard of APO and FPO orders. That's basically our men and women that are fighting for us overseas and sending products to the Air Force bases or military bases. If you want to support those types of postal codes, you have to type a yes in here and then hit save at the top of the page. And you can see here a free freight threshold. So I'm not exactly sure as I'm making this video. Well, it says the free freight threshold in pounds. So we have a feature whereby any of the shipping methods can give away free freight based on the order size. If you put in here, let's say 10 or 20, that would be the number of pounds the order could not exceed to get free freight. The Bongo US URL. Bongo is a third-party international shipping company, and they will give you a custom URL for your store. So you would get that from them. Okay, now these are pretty obvious. If you want to use UPS at your store, you need to activate it by choosing yes or no. And if you choose to use it, you need to put in the account number. Same thing for USPS, same thing for FedEx. All of these values here come from FedEx e-commerce the FedEx e-commerce department. They don't come from us, so you'll need to get with FedEx and talk to your rep there. Same with DHL. Okay, so when you're all said and done, you can click Save, and that will save the carrier settings. Now the next step is the shipping rules. Okay, now shipping rules are quite detailed, and before you want to do the shipping rules, you need to click the button on the administration page that says Check Store for Configuration. Where the heck is it? Here it is. Check Store Files for Basic Configuration. So when I click this, it will basically look at the settings in the store configuration. Sorry, I have to type OK to do it. And it will generate, you can see it says updating shipping files. Okay, so basically it looked at what I had on the shipping page, on the carrier settings I should say, and it went and generated all these models if they didn't already exist. So let's now go back. And let's click on shipping again. Where are we? Okay, now I can click on shipping rules, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of shipping rules. So basically what you're seeing here is I've activated FedEx, I've activated in-store pickup, I've activated UPS, and even USPS. These IDs are the IDs that the carriers recognize for their various ship methods. Now what you can do here is let's look for UPS, and I happen to know that UPG, which is probably the most popular setting, stands for UPS ground. If I click on edit, it's going to bring me to the detailed shipping rules for UPS ground. So you can see here it tells me UPG stands for UPS ground, and if you want, you can type in your own description. So I can type in just ground, let's say. Now it says here we have the shipping cost markup 1.0. So whatever UPS says is the retail shipping rate, that's what the system's going to use. If I want to mark that up by 10%, I can add 1.10. If I want to mark it down, I can put by 10%, I can put 0.90. Okay, the shipping cost multiplier we recommend leaving at 1.0. And here is a very important field. This is where we specify how to set free shipping at a certain order size. So you can see here with 75, basically any order over $75 will qualify for UPS ground. You can set this setting for any of your ship methods. Okay, and we do recommend using this because in B2C you'll see most sellers have some free ground shipping policy. Okay, charge at least. This would be the minimum to charge for UPS ground. You can make it any amount you want. Okay, and insurance and miscellaneous, these are just add-on fees. These are not the exact integrated fees with UPS directly, but it's a way for you to charge a few extra dollars on your shipping. Use shipping line when order total is. Now you can create multiple UPS ground shipping models that fall between a specific price range. Most customers have it all be the same, and you can leave it 0 to 0. But you could say for orders that are from $0 to $100, this shipping method for UPG would be valid. Okay, so we're going to just leave this at 0, which basically implies any order. And lastly, you can see here the state list and country list. You can make multiple UPS ground ship methods even for a specific state. So for example, maybe you would want to, I don't know, maybe in your own state you want to have a cheaper price than in a state on the other side of the country, as an example. All right, and also you can put in, as you can see here, a country list. Maybe you only want to support UPS in a specific country. This is where you would type in the country list. And the codes for the countries and the states are here below. And lastly, sort order. So the default is it can always be 0 and they'll sort alphabetically. But if you wanted to change the order of your shipping models when they come up on the freight quote or in the checkout, you can actually put in an ID here and it'll sort numerically. When it's all said and done, you hit save. I'm going to go back to settings and back to shipping one more time and make sure I covered everything. Okay, I would say it looks good. So we are in good shape, and that wraps it up for the shipping.